afternoon to you. Happy Sunday. Give me a hug. Just got back from church. Literally, we've been home for like 30 seconds, and I wanted to go ahead and film this video and check in on you and see how you're doing. You doing good? You having a good Sunday? So I want to thank you so much for your views and your response and that I've seen so far. I haven't seen too much today because when we get up on Sundays, we get up early and we have to do everything with the animals, yada, yada. And thank goodness for this beautiful East Tennessee weather right now. It is such a blessing because you know what's coming not too far down the road. A local state park, Fort Loudon, if you've ever been there, it's pretty much our stomping grounds. Right across from Sequoia Birthplace Museum. They did their persimmon seed reading this past week, just a couple of days ago, and they posted it. And guess what? Mostly spoons with some knives. Somebody else had that reading as well. I went out. We have a few persimmons that we're seeing on the grounds, but like I told you, a lot of people say, don't read the seeds until the persimmons are ripe. Well, here it is, not even the middle of October, and our persimmons are just about gone. This is what I'm saying. I'm like, you can't wait till November when we get our first frost. There's no persimmons. So I'm just going to say, take a deep breath. Winter is coming. And you know, I'll be out here with 17 goats, does having babies at this point. There's a lot coming up on that. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple things real quick. I'm going to make a little short or reel about it to correct it. It's not a big deal, but I did, when I was editing my video last night about our health transformation and all the things that we're trying to do and change and whatnot. And your input is so awesome, by the way. Thank you. But I had said with my coffee that I have collagen. I misspoke. I actually do colostrum. So I want to correct that. I mean, you do what you do what you want to do your own homework. But I actually don't take the collagen. You can buy the collagen and the peptides and all that stuff. I don't see how that hurts you, but I'm not really sure it's doing for you what you think it is. There's a lot of debate about that. So everybody's going to weigh in. I mean, something's better than nothing. And I have some. I actually have a lemon flavor that I like, especially with hot weather. But I took for a while colostrum, powdered dehydrated colostrum. And I ran out and I got more and I started picking back up on that. Ultimately, what I want is my raw milk. Now, let me say this real quick. I don't take colostrum from my mamas when they're nursing babies. I know some people do. I'm sorry, I have a thing. I mean, I guess if you by default, when you start milking the cow or the goat, a couple of days after, you know, the colostrum has been released and whatever, if you get some by default, that's great. But I don't go for that. So I do buy the dehydrated packs or fillers, not fillers, but the containers that have it just sprinkled in there, the powder, or individual packs of the powder. So I started with is it Omra? I think I said that wrong. And I've bought that several times. Now that's, you know, something really nice to have. And I switched to something that was less expensive, but there's a third brand I'm looking at that is the most recommended. It's a little bit out of my budget that I would like to spend, but folks, the cost for your health, I'm telling you right now. I was listening to something this morning as I was getting ready, and you know, the doctor was talking about people complain about being too busy to exercise or too busy to you know, they're trying to, you know, work and do, and they're just too busy. And she said, well, wait till you get sick. In other words, how can I spend all this time with changing my diet or going to the gym or walking 10,000 steps or whatever, you know, you think you should do? And her answer was, okay, well, let me flip it on you. Wait till you have a health crisis and then see how much time you're spending. And I went, whoa, shabam. So anyway, I just wanted to correct that. So I'm not actively taking the collagen. I'm actually taking, like I said, the creatine. I'm doing 10 grams a day. I split it up. I try to do that every day. And then I'm doing colostrum. Those are my main hits. And then good electrolytes, because I need that, obviously. So just want to correct that. Just want to make sure I was clear on that. So yada, yada. So we just got back from church, and it's so interesting. because we were getting into the Word, and I just love our pastor and the folks we go to church with. They're such nice people. And today's sermon was about transformation. I don't know about you. If you saw the previous video that I'm talking about, I put it out late last night. I talk about our transformation and our health transformation. That's what it's right there on my thumbnail. And the title, you can't miss it. And wow. So I love those God winks, and I want you to recognize that it's imperative that you try to do the best that you can for yourself, because if you're like me, we were driving home and we opened up social media. James was driving. I'm just catching up on a few little comments real quick, and I looked, and I went to a reel showing a situation that happened in the UK. Now, I haven't deep dived into this yet. I'm sure you know things are happening over there. They've been happening. I've spoken about it several times here on the channel over the last 2 to 3 years. If you're like me, you have a lot of roots, particularly in the UK, and specifically a certain portion of England and Scotland, big time, my husband particularly, and of course Ireland. And that's where my roots really connect to, especially Northern Ireland too. But it's very devastating to see what's going on over there. I will tell you that if you're in the UK, a lot of Americans are still not fully aware of how you have been completely infiltrated. I just want to call it what it is. That's what they are trying to do here. You know, I listened, James and I were talking about this day before yesterday. He was talking about what Tucker Carlson was talking about this week with Civil War. And of course, I always get real cute. Imagine that. And I go, Civil War? Where you been? Folks, I'll be honest with you right now. I am surprised that we haven't actually popped off on something massive somewhere. I will tell you folks over in the UK, I think the only thing that is really holding you at bay in a lot of ways by the crisis that I'm seeing is the fact that you are not allowed to have a certain particular item that we still have the right to have here. And it's questioned and it's challenged every day. So there's several points to this. First of all, folks out there, if you're hearing this video, no matter where you are, please pray for our brothers and sisters in Western Europe. The things that are happening over there are nothing but pure atrocities, and it's done by design. Things that are happening to children and women is nothing but a demon infestation, just absolutely plaguing that section of our world right now. Period. The crimes that are happening against humanity in that section of the world right now are unspeakable. Things are happening everywhere. Things have always happened everywhere. I understand that. And that is slowly infiltrating here, has been for several years, and it was done on purpose to bring mass chaos. Do I think that it could come to a head at some point? Frankly, I'm sort of surprised in some ways that it hasn't, and we're watching things happen in real time in certain cities in our country. I don't blame somebody for wanting to move to a different country or land because they want a different or better life. That's not what I'm talking about, and you know, anybody out there that's hearing this knows too. They play ignorant because they simply have a derangement syndrome of some form, okay? When it happens to them, they'll have something else to say. Wait and watch. But if you're hearing this video right now, and it's not about, I'm talking about the good citizens of the UK. I'm talking about the good citizens of this country. I'm talking about the good, law-abiding, working citizens that, try to get along, obey the law, raise their families, work. This has nothing to do with color. This is about people that are peace-loving, God-fearing, and they come in all shapes and sizes and colors, okay? So let's have that clarity as well. But please pray for that area of the world right now, because frankly, I watched a video. Here's where I'm going with this. So you know that freedom of speech is basically, doesn't exist over there. And again, that's been pushed here many, many times and continues to be. But I watched a video, as I was telling you, I was scrolling through, just catching up on a couple of things, and I immediately scrolled upon a short, it's a reel on Instagram. that was shared where there is a gentleman who is clearly not from the UK. I'll just leave it at that. Doesn't appear to be. How about that? My assumption is, and by the way he was talking and acting, I think it's a fair assumption based upon what all we know is going on, right? He was on a train. Everything happens, it seems, in so many cases on trains, railways, and subways these days. Amazing how that happens, but I digress. He had his pants pulled all the way down. Fully clothed, decent looking human being. We're not talking, and he was, I don't know what caused it, but he had decided to pull his pants all the way down on a train packed with people, women and children included. And of course they blur out the video. And there were a couple of gentlemen who were confronting him and were basically, I mean, you see a section of it and they're like, you know, you've got women and children here. Well, he was verbally attacking them back with what he could speak in English and fact, just telling you what the video is. And it ends up in somewhat of a brawl. And the men that were trying to basically stop him from completely exposing himself, completely in society, in public, on a train with women. I mean, people were freaking out. Women were getting up. Anyway, these men now that confronted him, that were trying to get him to stop, and it, you know, obviously turned into a brawl of some sorts just to subdue the man and get him off the train. They weren't trying to just beat him up to beat him up. In fact, that really wasn't what I was witnessing. They were trying to get him to stop. And I think it looks like he might be trying to hit him back with a belt, maybe a black belt. Well, I guess the belt didn't work that day. The men that were taking up for what's right are now being investigated. This is where we are now. In a lot of ways, in a lot of cases. And so what I want to bring to the table is your awareness about this and to pray for that. I can tell you to pray, and I think that that's the first thing that everybody needs to do. But what I want to warn you about is what I was saying about obviously a lot of people are coming to the realization that the discussion of civil war, which I'm not for. Let me make that very, very clear in this video multiple times. I'm not advocating for that. But it's very clear that in many cases, society is being pushed to the brink. And it's all by design, everyone. And we have no comprehension here in this country of what that would be like. Because again, the only civil war that we can really relate to, even though we can talk about other instances, we always talk about the 1861 to from April 1861 to 1865, April, both years. And so, you know, you're going back, in my case, like I've said before, to your third, in my case, mostly my third great-grandfathers or uncles. I didn't know those men. I know what they endured. I know who they served, where they went. I know that one in particular was a POW at Vicksburg. Walked out of Vicksburg, weighed 97 pounds. But the devastation that it caused to this country, we read about. We don't relate to as much because we don't know. And even if we talk about serious wars such as World War II, let's be honest, my Nana, who will be 89 very soon, she was a child. So when you talk about these things, the majority of us don't have a comprehension, but I do want to say what you need to do, and this is always my recommendation, is always to get right with God, because He's going to guide you in how you need to mentally and physically prepare yourself. That's part of this transformation that you see here, that I'm really pushing on you. This isn't about me just trying to, you know, find a bicep and have James lose 30 pounds and, oh my goodness, I really, really, really like cottage cheese. There is a purpose behind all of this. And that is not to prepare you to be like a soldier for war. But the reality is, you may have to endure a lot of things. And if you are not necessarily the one to endure, it could be your children. So we have to be a soldier and a warrior for peace, if possible, at all costs, prayer, and for God. And we may be put into stress and situations that we can't even comprehend here yet in the United States, but look across the pond. Do you think those people 30 years ago, 20 years ago, really thought they would be at this point today? I will argue no. And the sad thing is, like I said before, the majority of Americans have no comprehension of what's going on, if they've heard of it at all. It's being kept from the public in many forms. You know, we have a love-hate relationship with social media. You have to find your boundaries with that. I'm finding mine, and I totally encourage that. But at the end of the day, it's brought a lot of awareness, hasn't it? So it has its good points and its bad points. So the question is, are you aware? Please pray for our brothers and sisters. Think about how you will respond to situations, and how will you endure the continual push of stress. You know, some of us will argue and say, okay, well, since Donald Trump got in office, things might be better. Some things are, some things aren't. And I'm not going to stand around and argue my full thoughts about everything at this point, because, folks, I think we're at a point where that's old news. We have to get right. And you have to answer the question of what is that for you. But I do know it comes through, first and foremost, the Lord Jesus Christ. And we need strong men in this country. We need strong men everywhere. So pray for those individuals that were standing up for what's right in that particular situation. I don't think that that was a put on by any stretch of the imagination. And even if you can sit there and question, is this happening in this particular video or not, do you know about everything else? I have folks that follow this channel from the UK, quite a few actually, and especially in Ireland as well. Ask them. Don't stand around and debate what you don't see, or what you pretend you don't see, or what you aren't told because Fox News isn't going to bring that up today. And I did say Fox News. But ask them. They may not be able to tell you at this point. And just that statement alone should scare you. But don't live in fear. Don't live in fear. We need warriors of all types. Ladies, you have a responsibility, and this is what I'm saying to you. We have to have strong, spiritually led, and physically strong men around us at all times and in this country. Society has lied to women for many, many years now. That's part of the problem. That's why many women are sick, why many women are depressed, why many women are divorced. Not to say that men are perfect species. I don't give that pass. But what I'm saying is we need to uphold, we have to get ourselves right, and we have to pray, and then we have to find our seating, and then we have to realize we have to cheerlead our men to lead, because there's not going to be women that are going to be able to do what I saw those gents do on the subway, the railway, to defend what was right. Most women would probably be scared to. We have to have our protectors. Like, subscribe, and share. Pray, prep, and be peaceful. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Appreciate your support, and I hope that our journey as far as what we are doing is helping to inspire you and to make you think about how you can slowly transform yourself into a healthier state of being, because it's going to be required. But the first step is your spiritual step. I promise, with all of these things, you're never going to want to go back. Like, subscribe, and share. Pray, prep, and be peaceful. This is the ultimate prep. And I appreciate you being here, and I love you. I'll see you on the next video.